Waiting for the recording to come on.
Where is that fearless leader?
MIA.
MIA.
Hey, Woody.
Hey, how you doing, Dave?
Good. Nice backdrop there.
Oh,
Very
thank you.
important.
All right, bear with me.
Keep an eye on,
This recording's working here.
I
keep
think
an eye on his
around.
All right,
backdrop.
so, Mr. Ryan, you have the meeting, sir.
Thank you, Mr. Marvel. I am going to call the CPC meeting of September 17th to order at 7:02 p.m. Before we do the pledge, I must read this announcement. This is due to the increasing concern surrounding the COVID-19 pandemic. This meeting/public hearing will be held remotely with no physical meeting location. Those seeking to provide public input should do so using the methods listed below. I'm going to say my email address right now is timothyrhines52@gmail.com. Again, that's timothyrhines52@gmail.com. If you'd like to send in some public input, I'll have to take a look at that later. The video and audio of the meeting will be aired on Comcast Local TV at a later date. Public input will be provided through, again, the internet. My email address is timothyrhines, all small case, 52@gmail.com. So that being said, if the members would just join me in the Pledge of Allegiance, please. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America
and to the
and to the
republic
republic
For
for which it stands,
one
one
nation,
nation,
under God,
indivisible,
indivisible, with liberty,
liberty,
justice for all.
for all. Thank you. Just give me a second, please. I just have to break into the agenda. And excuse me just for a second. All right, now I have to find my glasses now. Thank you. So that being said, we're going to go on to attendance this evening. And right now, the chair is absent. Mr. Woods is present. Mr. Eckerson is present. Mr. Marville is present. Mrs. Collin is present. We are missing Mr. Jim Digges. He is excused due to a conflicting meeting with the Conservation Commission. What, am I missing anybody? I don't think so.
Nick.
Nick, oh, I'm
Nicholas
sorry.
Vaz.
I'd like to make an announcement about Mr. Vaz. I just received a phone call from Nick Vaz, and unfortunately, he's going to have to resign because he is moving out of town, and he said to me that he is looking for a home to move back into Dayton, so we may be seeing him in the future. We just don't know. Did you get all that, Karen?
I can't hear anything right now.
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Can you hear me, Karen?
Yes, but I can't hear. Now I can hear you, but I was having a problem there when you were talking.
Okay. So it's, for the attendance, we have
Yeah, I got all
the
that.
chair is absent. Okay, you got all that. So the chair is
Yeah.
absent.
Yeah.
We have everybody here. Mr. Vaz is going to respectfully resign. So you
Oh.
have that. That's great. So yes, he's going to send a letter to the town clerk, which is required for a communication. He said he's going to do that in the next couple of days. And I want to personally thank Mr. Vaz for being with us and serving with us on the committee. He's a fine young man and has some great input, and hopefully we look forward to seeing him possibly in the future. Again, thank you, Nick. And Karen, if we can, I'd like to see if we could type up some type of a letter. So at this time, I'm going to entertain a motion that our administrative assistant type up a letter to send to Mr. Vaz recognizing his service with us on the Community Preservation Committee.
I make a motion.
I second that.
Motion has been made by Mr. Marvel, seconded by Mrs. Collard. Any further discussion on a letter? Hearing none, let's vote by roll call. Mr. Woods,
Aye.
Mr. Marvel,
Aye.
Mrs. Collard,
Aye.
Mr. Eckerson,
Aye.
Tim Rhines, aye. That's 5-0. Thank you, Karen. We're going to move on to our first order of business. It is going to be review, discuss, and act on the application for funding for the North Dayton Playground. I did send everything around to the members. I know you received it. I only received it this morning myself. And you saw two costs for the possible playground in North Dayton. The first was $222,000 and change. That was option one. And option two was at $188,000. I am still personally, through Parks and Recreation, working with the town administrator to find grant funding. And there may be some other possible avenues other than getting grants through the MRC Corporation, who installs and furnishes the playground equipment. Now, with that being said, their funding source for their grant runs out in October 31st. But they do run this program again, and the gentleman said to me they've been doing it for the last 7 or 8 years, and mentioned that even though we may go forward with doing construction, we may be able to reapply and receive some grant monies later on down the road. So I hope everybody had a chance to look at the 3D renderings that were sent by the engineer from the company. I like both renderings. They look very nice. So
Looks great.
I have nothing more. I have nothing more to add on that subject. If any of the members would like to weigh in, go right ahead. Mr. Woods, any comment?
Sorry, but somebody was knocking at my door, so I had to go see who it was.
Yeah.
I missed the whole conversation, so.
Yeah, we were just discussing the information that went out with the playground, what he had sent out this afternoon to the members, and if you had no
Yeah,
opportunity
I
to look
read
at
that
it.
over. And, you know, I'm all for whatever we can get. That playground needs to be redone at any cost.
Yeah.
It's a shame. Been going on for
No,
years and years.
Yeah, I agree, Woody. I agree. You were part of the recreation department back in that time, so you know the history behind that. So, Mrs. Collard, any comments in regards to the information I sent out this afternoon?
No, Jim, I'm very satisfied with what I read.
Thank you. Mr. Atkinson, any comment?
Yeah, I requested public input from my daughter as she was passing by, and she definitely preferred the larger option, the more expensive option. So
Me too.
Okay.
I could probably bring her
So
in
we have,
for additional info if you need it.
Okay, so right now we're at 3 votes for the larger option. Well, just as a polling, I should say. I'm sorry, just a poll. So we're at 3. Mr. Marvel, any comments or questions?
I agree with you, with the other members. I like the larger option. It looks like a sturdy playground. It's not chintzy. I compare it to the one we have at Town Hall here. And I like it. I think it's going to be great.
So again, I just want to say that I'm working still with the town administrator to look at some other funding sources. They're in the midst of receiving the ADA compliant grants to the town. And she's going to find out if any of what we'd like to do fits into those parameters for the grant. So I will, of course, keep all the members updated with any information that I receive. I will send along so everyone's up to date. So I thank everyone for that. So that being said, I'm going to move on to, I entertain a motion to approve the meeting minutes of August 20th, 2020.
So move.
Motion has been made. Do I hear a second?
I second that.
Motion been made by Mr. Woods and seconded by Mr. Call. Any further discussion on the meeting minutes of last month? Hearing none, let's vote by roll. Mr. Woods.
Aye.
Mr. Marvel.
Aye.
Mrs. Collard,
Aye.
Mr. Eckerson,
Aye.
Tim Rhines, aye. That's 5-0, Karen, for approval of the meeting minutes. Since the chair is not here, I'm going to give just a little bit of updates again on what's transpiring. Is that I did receive, and I'm just going to call this a preliminary application from the Papa Squash Swim Club. And I really don't want to waste those people's time or the committee's time. So what I'm going to do is that I'm going to forward that application to the CPC Coalition to have them take a look at it to see if they qualify under our guidelines. So that's what I intend to do. I spoke with Mr. Rich Gunther, and he is working with Mrs. Tiffany Steele, and she was the lead person who sent me the information today, and I told her, I left a message on her phone stating that I would call her tomorrow to speak with her about this. So I'm going to send that application forwarded up to the coalition probably tomorrow or the next day. Probably tomorrow, because they only work Monday through Thursday, and due to the pandemic, they're short-staffed and they're not really manning the facility. So it's going to be a while before I possibly hear any word back on if this project they propose fits out the parameters.
I doubt if they'll.
So, yeah, well, you know, I reached out to the coalition before briefly and gave them just a quick synopsis of what they wanted to do, and they said that it really didn't fit the criteria. So I just want to make sure that, again, we just don't want to waste their time, that's all.
That's like using public funds for a private entity.
Right. Correct. And I don't really think that they understand it. If it were to come to fruition, all the rules and regulations that would go with that. So.
But it is nonprofit entity, correct?
Yes, they are. They are a nonprofit, from what I understand. Yes.
But it's a private
So
entity.
I'm going to open. Yeah, they're a private entity. Yeah, matter of fact, yeah, they are a private entity. I'm not sure if they're listed as a 501c3. I'm going to have to look at that. I'm going to open the floor up to any of the members if they'd like to say a few words, if you have anything on your minds right now.
I do. What did they have in mind? Did they say what they were looking for, the amount of money or anything?
I looked at it very briefly. They're looking for around $42,000 to $46,000, and they want to demolition an old building and put up a new structure. I think that disqualifies them right out of the gates. And they want to refurbish their built-in pool also. Now, we have to keep in mind that it is a recreational area that's within the confines of the town, but again, it may not qualify under the rules and regs.
Right.
So the question is, Tim, is it, does the CPC only authorized to fund projects that are on publicly owned recreation? It sounds like they're trying to, they're looking at the recreation category.
Correct. And
Unless it's historical.
That's
that's
a stretch.
correct.
That's a stretch.
Well, but see, the stretch date with that is that
They're not
the
going to
building that's on the property, yeah, exactly. The building on the property is over 50 years old, which would qualify under the parameters. But the thing is that I don't know if they've contacted the building commissioner to see if they could keep up, existing foundation with 1 or 2 walls, because that would just be a refurb and it wouldn't be classified just as a demolition, that type of thing, Dave Marvel, do you have anything you'd like to add with that? Anything?
I know I've seen it in the past, and I agree. We have to define it if it's public or private. And then, I know the average building that comes down in Dayton right now, and I could be wrong, I'm just guessing the ballpark's about 40 grand. I don't know if that's going to be enough money to do a demo and then bring the building back and raise a brand new building, That's
Yeah, they're just looking, yeah. Yeah, they're looking for just the demolition part, I think. I'd have to look through it fully. That's why I just, this is just in conversation. It's not an application that's we're going to accept right now because I'd rather look into things before, again, like waste their time, the
Right.
applicant's time.
And then once again, like the other members too, I feel the same way. If it's not a public building, it's more private, we might have to look into that more. I just,
Yeah, that's,
my gut feeling.
Well,
I agree.
it is like private, so to speak, but it is open to the public of Dayton where they have to join for a fee. So I don't know if that
Well, that's the thing. That was still considered a membership type situation, even though within their application, they would like to open it to the public after their peak hours, that type of thing. So there could be a catch-22 involved with that. So I don't, like I say, I would rather research it before we waste their time,
Good idea.
That's a good idea.
I like it.
Mr. Eckerson, there's going to be no financial report this month only because of the finances really have not fluctuated or changed. Nothing's going to be received in certified receipts until, let's see, we're in September. I want to say mid to late October, November. And then the town will get their receipts in also from the real estate tax and the monies we would receive from the CPC itself, so.
Right. I wouldn't mind, I didn't hear anything from the accountant, so I wouldn't mind talking to him at any point just to get up to speed on how he generates his reports and formats them. So.
Okay.
I don't know. I just get a hold of him myself, I guess, right?
Yeah, that's fine. Absolutely, Dave. You could do that. Just so tell me if you remember the CPC and you're a financial officer, and he'll take care of that for you, I'm sure. I believe I sent your email address to him, but I'm just going to check to make sure when the building's open again on Monday because they're off tomorrow. And I'll reach out to Mr. Laviolette and make sure he has everyone's updated email addresses for the whole committee.
Okay.
He's a really nice guy too, Dave. Very nice guy.
All right, great.
Excellent.
Yes, he's very pleasant to talk with. And he's very thorough. So with that being said, I'm going to just entertain a motion to accept the vice chair's report as given.
So moved.
Motion has been made by Mr. Woods. Do I hear a second on accepting the report of the vice chair?
Second.
Second by Mr. Eckerson. Any further discussion on the vice chair's report? Hearing none, let's vote by roll. Mr. Woods.
Aye.
Mr. Marble.
Aye.
Mrs. Collard.
Aye.
Mr. Eckerson.
Aye.
Mr. Rhines. Aye. Before we adjourn, I just want to alert to the members that next month's meeting will be held on Thursday, October 15th, which is the third Thursday of the month, at 7 p.m. And again, this will be via the Zoom format. We prefer not to meet in person. And our administrative assistant, I'll reach out to her to set the agenda for next month. And I will talk with the town administrator prior to our meeting to set up the Zoom information that will be followed out to the members. This month, or going into next month, I'm going to see if I can get the agenda set at least a minimum of 5 days to 7 days before the meeting, so that way the town administrator is not scrambling trying to set up the Zoom situation for us. So, with that being said, I'm sorry, go ahead.
World War II was from here to there. Korea, the Vietnam era.
Somebody's watching TV. But so at this time, I'm going to entertain a motion to adjourn.
I motion.
I'll second.
Motion been made by Mrs. Collins, seconded by Mr. Woods. Any further discussion on adjournment? Hearing none, let's vote by roll. Mr. Woods.
Aye.
Mr. Marvell,
Aye.
Mrs. Collard,
Aye.
Mr. Eckerson,
Aye.
Mr. Ryan's aye. Before again we adjourn, again, next month's meeting is on the third Thursday of the month. And that is the 15th, 1/5 of September, of October, excuse me, October. Cable, I'd like to thank Cable as always for recording our meetings for us.
Good night, Cable.
And thank you, Cable, and good night.
Good night, guys.
Good,
Take care. Be
gentlemen.
safe.
Karen.
Good
Be
night.
safe, everybody. Good night
Aye.
now.
Bye. Have a good week.